Well, hey folks, I just want to bring something to your attention right quick that I'm going to be entitling Necessary Measures. Now, this really comes in the wake of two events that have happened in our history just recently in the United States, one being Hurricane Harvey and now Hurricane Irma, which is just riddling the South Florida coast. Now, it really comes to mind not because of just my mindset and my thought process, but by watching one of our good transplant friends, Mark A. Barber. Now, he's a heart transplant recipient from about a year or so ago, just a little bit over a year ago, and he had to make the decision living in Miami, Florida, if he was going to evacuate or not. As a matter of fact, at one point, he and his family had decided they were going to move their way up to Atlanta, Georgia, and spend some time just to get out of the wake of the storm, to get out of the eye of this storm, to get out of its pathway. But he had to make a decision even more than that, and that is to consider his overall health in that decision. Nonetheless, he knew, as well as many know, that if he would have come on up to Atlanta, Georgia, he would have had access to some of the two best transplant centers in the entire country, one being at Piedmont Hospital, one also being at Emory Hospital in and around Atlanta, Georgia. However, he also understood that those two transplant facilities are not his, therefore he was not necessarily going to receive ideal care. Good care, probably yes, but ideal care, probably not, because they don't know his case. They don't know what he's been dealing with over the past few weeks. Particularly, they're not eyeing and already watching and monitoring. So a little bit of mild rejection that he's experiencing. So he had to make a decision. Was it better to stay back and kind of ride out the storm in Miami or in and around that area, or to try to make the trek up to Atlanta and then be out of pocket with this transplant center and have to kind of get used to somebody else, even if it be for a very short time? Now, they made a decision not to come, and I know a lot weighed into that, including the fact that you have to maintain access to your medications, to your pharmacies, to your medication refills, to everything that's familiar for you. That is the best plan in many cases. Now, we don't know how this plan is necessarily going to work out, but so far things are going well with him. He's kind of buckled down inside of a neighbor's house and riding out the storm already. Things are okay to this point, but nonetheless, you just have to make those decisions. So let me tell you, it's always a good thing for us to plan ahead, to consider what can be the worst scenarios, and to make sure that we've covered ourselves in the wake of them. That's why I'm calling this necessary measures. Not always what we want to do, but sometimes what is necessary. So as I've always advised, you always keep 3 to 5 days of medication on hand, and in light of these situations, maybe 10 days might be even a little bit better to keep on hand, just to be sure you're covered, because you never know when something might arise that would prevent you from having access to your pharmacy or whatever it is, just losing touch with what's familiar to you. So be willing to plan ahead, be willing to look out for the future, and be willing to cover yourself in any situation, because as I always say, that's the best way to stay stronger, friends.